In this example, I'm going to use motion controllers to make these two spheres to the left and right of my ball and chain shake after they've been hit by the ball and chain. I'm going to use a motion controller on these two spheres to make this happen. First, I'm going to start by selecting my sphere on the left, clicking on my motion panel, and clicking on the Assign Controller rollout. I'm going to select Scale, and I'm going to assign a motion controller to the scale of the sphere on the left by clicking on the button. Right now, the default is Bezier scale. I'm going to add Noise scale. That's going to be my motion controller now. I click OK to apply it, click the plus sign, and I can see that it's right there. And I'm going to select Scale, right-click, select Properties, and this will bring up the noise controller parameters. I can change the seed, the frequency, I can change the X strength, Y strength, Z strength. I can ramp in and ramp out the noise, and I can change the roughness of the noise. Once I'm satisfied with this, I can close the noise controller parameters, and when I press play, you can see that my sphere wobbles. It scales based on that noise mathematical function. I'm now going to do the same to the sphere on the right. I select the sphere on the right, select its scale transform, click on the Assign Controller button, and I'm going to select the noise scale and make that my motion controller. And you can see that it adds the noise motion controller to the scale of the sphere on the right. When I press play now, they both shake according to that transform. I'm going to select the scale transform, right-click, and select Properties. And I'm going to change the frequency of the noise for the second sphere. Now when I press play, you can see that it changes a little slower. I've changed the noise properties. Suppose I want to change or get rid of a controller. I select my first sphere, for example, select the scale transform, assign a controller, and change it back to the Bezier scale, which was the default. Click OK, and now you can see the noise is gone. It's back to its default Bezier scale. I'm going to reassign the noise controller to that first sphere. Select the scale transform, click on the Assign Controller, select Noise, Scale, click OK. Now both of my spheres are wobbling. There's one problem. They're wobbling from the very beginning. What I'm going to do now is animate my ball and chain. I'm going to have it swing over, hit the sphere on the right, the green one, then it'll start wobbling, then I'll have it hit the sphere on the left, and then it will start wobbling. To do this, I'm going to turn on inverse kinematics by clicking on the toggle button right here in the toolbar. I'm going to turn on the animate toggle, move my timeline forward to about 25 frames, use the Move Transform tool, grab the ball, and move it over to the right. I'm going to move the timeline to about 50. And then move the ball to the left in the front view. Now I'm going to move my timeline to about 75 and move the ball to the middle. And then move the timeline to the end and move the ball a little bit to the left. Turn off the animation toggle, select my perspective view, and press play. Now I need to open up the track view so I can change the time that this wiggling begins. I don't want the wiggling to start until my ball hits the sphere on the right and then the sphere on the left. Go to the track view, select Open Track View, expand my hierarchy so I can see my objects. Now I want to change the transform so that it occurs when the ball hits the sphere on the right and then when it hits the sphere on the left. So I'm going to move my timeline to the point where the ball first touches the sphere on the right. Then I'm going to select the timeline and I'm going to move it over to that point in time. Now I'm going to move my timeline forward until my sphere hits the sphere on the left, and then move its timeline by dragging like so. I'm going to close my track view and then press play. So you can see that my spheres don't start wiggling until the ball and chain hit them. So I've used a motion controller to change the way these objects move as far as scale is concerned by applying a noise motion controller to each one of these spheres. Then by going to the track view, I was able to change at what point these motion controllers start to activate. Using this technique, you can create very complex animations using motion controllers, keyframes, and moving around your track ranges in the track view. Because this CD is a basics disc, we don't have the time to get into all of the different motion controllers. I suggest you read your manual to read descriptions on all the different motion controllers for scale, rotation, position, and general transform.